Alright, this is a video I wanted to make for a long time. It's basically the reason why I haven't posted any Warhammer videos in a long time, because a good portion of that time that I used to play Warhammer has gone into playing Star Wars the Old Republic. So this is a review of Star Wars the Old Republic. I played the game for 9 months. I stopped playing. I will say why. I think I actually played for about 10 months. I was on the fence about quitting my subscription, and for whatever reason, one time my auto payment didn't go through, and I said, "All right, that's it. I'm done." So that's when I stopped. I just want to go into where the game fails and why I stopped. But I have to start by saying I've never played an MMO this long. There's not a single MMO that has held my attention for anywhere near this long. I have played EverQuest back in the day, which I probably played a lot of, but probably not for this long. I played Age of Conan. I tried World of Warcraft. Let's see, Dungeons & Dragons Online I liked, and I even liked when it came back free to play, but I definitely didn't hang on to the game for almost a year. Let's see. Guild Wars. There's a few others in there. I've tried most of them. I'm always excited. They usually always let me down. Now, probably the main reason why I kept playing Star Wars for so long was, one, my guild. I was really happy with my guild. A bunch of nice people that made the game fun. Two, there was storyline in the game. But that's also one of the negatives, which I'll get to. So my guild was awesome. Like I said, a lot of great people. A couple times I thought of quitting, I'd say because of the guild and wanting to get better for the guild, and we're all working together, I kept playing the game. So big thumbs up to them. Starfallen, they were a good guild. But even them, it seems like they've dropped off a little bit, and they're not playing as much. So, where does the game fail, and why did I stop playing? Well, first off, it's a MMO RPG. So the MMO is massively multiplayer online. In the first few months, it failed at this because there was a decent drop-off of player base, so a lot of the servers were left with low population. I was on the Vesh server, which happened to be one of these with a low player base. So it made PvP impossible during the daytime hours. Not that I was home much, but it's just impossible. You had a day off, you got home from work and you wanted to play at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just impossible. You couldn't get in a PvP match until at least 8 p.m. That was for months. So it fails on the massively multiplayer scale. They did bring servers together, and that was really nice. But now that there's a lot more people on the server, we did a server migration. There's a lot more people. I find that in the daily zones, these people are a nuisance. You're camping stuff, and people are fighting over whatever box they got to click on to get their dailies. And all those war zone areas aren't populated. I've seen a war zone area in Ilum populated once ever in 10 months of playing. Once. I was involved in one war zone. So, fails on the massively multiplayer. As far as an RPG goes, a role-playing game, you want to take on a role. You want to make a character. You want to be that character. You want them to be cool. And, you take on that role. It fails here, too. Basically, you have a storyline that doesn't really change much about your character. It makes them light side or dark side, and there's some storyline changes, but overall, not a huge impact, doesn't impact the world. All the characters have the same voice, which is fine when you're going through the story, but when you're in, one of these flashpoints, and you're with a group of people, and everyone in the dialogue scene sounds exactly the same, kind of kills the immersion. You lost your role, because you all have the same voice. Along with that, everyone is wearing the same armor. All the armor sets, when you get into high level, everyone's rocking the exact same armor. So that removes what makes your guy special. And I know they started working this, they made adaptive armor so you could run around looking like a Tusken Raider if you want, but it reduces your stats because you don't get the set bonus. So there's no point to do it. No one wants to do it because you're effectively nerfing your character. So that's just stupid. You can't, even if you could modify the color of your armor or give it your own little touch, then it would be cool. And what this really affected me, because prior to playing Star Wars the Knights of the Old Republic, I was playing APB, which isn't a great game, but the customization system in APB is amazing. You really can make your character look any way you want. And it encourages you to, try and level up and work more because you want to unlock, more appearances. And you just want to keep customizing and give them tattoos everywhere and scars or crazy hair or new clothes. And then you could sell that clothes to other people, and then you find whole groups of people who made matching outfits and matching cars, and that was awesome. And then you go to Star Wars, where it's 5 different build types. It's like the child-sized guy, and then the tall, skinny guy, and then the buff guy, and then the fat guy, and that's pretty much all you have. And not a lot of face things to change. So you lose on the RPG aspect. You're not taking on a role. You don't get to make a lot of changes. You don't affect the world. Next is the storyline. And I love Bioware games. Knights of the Old Republic was my favorite role-playing game up until the Mass Effect series. And I have a few role-playing games that I absolutely love. My favorite games of all time, going back to Baldur's Gate, was amazing. Knights of the Old Republic, excellent game, especially the storytelling. That was was BioWare's best writing until Mass Effect. Mass Effect series is now top of my list. And also on there, I got The Witcher, another excellent RPG, not BioWare, but just saying. So I love RPGs, and I love them because they usually have the best storylines. And in this situation, the game fails. They tried to give you 8 different storylines, and since there's so many storylines and everything like that, and there's so much work and so much voice acting that had to go into the game, you got 8 mediocre stories. There was never a point where I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next. And when I was interested in the story, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see what happens next. Not, I can't wait, but I want to see what happens. Progression was so slow. You hit that level grind, and by the time, unless you have 10 hours a day to dedicate, to the game, you start to forget what the story is, or you just don't care and just want to get up to level 50. That's not good. The progression, I believe I read that it was 50 hours. The average person takes 50 hours to hit level 50. I understand for an MMO, you need some way to keep people playing all the time, but it just ends up feeling like wasted time. You don't feel like accomplishment, or you don't feel like you really enjoyed that playtime. I was at a point where I went on every day for an hour or 2 to do my dailies, and there's no new content in the daily. It's like running errands in real life. You don't really want to do it. You just do it because you have to. And that's how it started to feel. And I go in for an hour and run these dailies. And it's just, I was doing it, for the credits, and so I could eventually buy this or whatever. So, no wardrobe. No character customization. Everyone's got the same voice. Weak story. Across the board, these are the issues that I was seeing with the game. Then, I don't like the combat, and this is probably why I stopped playing every MMO. Combat's not fun for me. Primarily I played as a bounty hunter, and I got my rotation down. I was very good with my rotation, and would pretty much, have a beer in my left hand and click, 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 click. And that was it. That was my rate. Make sure I'm in the right spot. If I have to move because there's a circle under me, I move. Otherwise, keep the rotation. Click, click, click. But the biggest killer is there's no real strategy. And people say, oh, of course there's a strategy. You have to do this, and we need a team of this, and we put 2 guys on here, and you taunt him. And one, it's not like anything realistic. It's this fake mechanics that have been made up for MMO. You know, you have your tank, your healer, and your DPS classes, and it's this fake mechanic that is totally detached from, you know, real combat. Besides that, I can understand it's a game, so it doesn't have to be realistic, but it should be fun. There's no real strategy, and when I used to play DDO, that's one thing I loved, Dungeons & Dragons Online. It had some aspects to classic Dungeons & Dragons, the board game, where you could say, okay, we're going on this quest, and we know the main boss might be a vampire. Okay, we should make sure we have magical weapons on us, because our regular weapons won't hurt him. Our priest should memorize more fire spells, or whatever's going to be effective against vampires. Same thing for our mages. You know, our priest should know these defensive spells, our mages should know these offensive spells, and okay, we're better equipped, let's try it. But in these MMOs, you just get these really weird battles where there is one strategy, and you go online and you look it up, and you hope your team does it effective. It's not, okay, we're going to swap out, these weapons are more effective against that guy, you know. It's not that. You know, everyone's weapon is just based on stats. Yes, I know there's an MMO thing, but it's not like, oh, I'm going to bring lasers or cannons or flame, or there's none of that. I mean, that doesn't exist, so I can't stand that, you know. It's like other games, oh, this guy's susceptible to poison, or he's susceptible to lightning. It's really not that in this game at all. Just your stat-based gun. There's nothing strategic about who you're fighting. So then these battles, like I said, it's devoid of anything you'd ever really think of. Oh, your tank has to make sure that he's pulling the target towards him when this gun's shooting at him. But right before this other laser shoots, he has to move and run behind the DPS, so they take that debuff. And then he runs back in and taunts again. It just makes you know, there's nothing logical about it. You're going to go online, you're going to look up that strategy, and then you're going to get your team to implement it. It's not like, oh, we won by the skin of our teeth because we did this and we lucked out, and it's just, no, that's the strategy. If you do it right, if you have the gear and the stats, you succeed. There's no real fun to it. So, just to go over everything we said, it fails as an online game, as a massively multiplayer online game. It fails as an RPG because there's no great customer characterization and you don't feel like you're playing a role. Storyline is weak. And whatever else I was just saying 2 seconds ago. I have to thank my guild, though. They made the game fun, and it definitely does have something, because I did play the game for 10 months. So I sat here and bashed this game for 12 minutes, but it does have something. You know, graphically it's nice, and the voice acting is really good, and there's a ton of potential there, but I feel like the fact that it had to be stuffed into an MMO package ruined potentially a great game. They would have been much better off with more Knights of the Old Republic. A really well done one. I think this was an attempt at a money grab. You know, more saying, oh, you know, we're Bioware, you know, we're really good, we can succeed at this. And I think they did. You know, from a technical aspect, they did a lot of things great. They are listening to the fans and adjusting stuff. You have to take what I say, you know, with a grain of salt, because I don't like MMOs. I don't. I've realized that. I have my hopes up for Neverwinter, but I'm expecting it to be just like another one, that I'm going to be all excited, I'm going to play it and never really be satisfied, and then eventually just say, screw this game. Will I go back to Star Wars? When it's free to play, maybe. I haven't deleted it yet from my hard drive, if that says anything. But all in all, I think this is why the game's failed. I wanted to mention that for a while, and this was also just me giving a thumbs up to my guild. That's it. That's why I left. But hopefully Neverwinter is going to be awesome. I'll play that. Right now I'm enjoying some XCOM. It's fun. a fun change, some real strategy in that. That's it. I hope you like the review.